Greetings demons and welcome to Collect Corps, and today we're going to be looking at my top 5 die-cast cars in my current collection, so let's just jump straight into it. So first, before we get into the actual list, I just want to quickly throw down some rules that I've given myself just because my die-cast collection is far bigger than the scope of this video, so just to get it out of the way, this video will not be including any vehicles from the Cars line, the various Thomas and Friends lines, or any and either of the various racing or figure-based themes provided by Mattel, Hasbro, or any of the other companies. So at number 5, we have the Hot Wheels Concept Kit Car, and this is honestly such an excellent vehicle. It is one of my all-time favorites, of course, and it comes down to the fact that this is not a typical recreation of a, actual vehicle, or even a vehicle from a movie. This is a concept originally designed by Hot Wheels, which I think is just so cool, even down to the fact that it does still share a lot of factors with the actual kit car, which we do actually have in Hot Wheels. I unfortunately don't have that one in my collection, but in my opinion, this is a much better design. So at the end of the day, this is a really interesting concept to have a vehicle that doesn't actually exist in real life as, an actual thing. Obviously, there are prop versions of it, but Kit from Knight Rider is a very unique vehicle, and having a concept version of it is just really interesting. So I love the sleek blackness of it, I love the silver highlights, and then, of course, the little bit of orange on both the front and back just really breaks it up and makes this one of the most aesthetically pleasing vehicles in my collection. You also have little things like the little car, K-A-R-R, logo, essentially, on the bonnet, and in general, this is just an excellent vehicle, well worth it, especially if you are a Knight Rider fan. For me, this comes down to just being such a lovely looking vehicle, such a nice design, and in general, a weird, concept for a Hot Wheels vehicle that I just really enjoy to have in my collection. And coming in at number 4, we have an entry from Hasbro. So this is the 2009 Bayverse Bumblebee, of course, based on his appearance in the live-action films. And this is not only just an excellent recreation of Bumblebee's car mode, but part of the range that this was included in has the ability to essentially convert into robot mode. It's a really dumb design, honestly, and in a lot of ways it doesn't work. There's plenty of them that have much worse designs than this. Spitfire comes to mind. But when it comes to the idea of having a die-cast car that's not quite a Transformer, but still has a conversion, this is about as good as you get. It does obviously have the ability to stand up, so you can actually use it as a Bumblebee figure in a way, but I just really do like how accurate the actual car mode is, while also having the option for the robot mode. Just for something this small, with no moving parts other than the wheels, it just, I don't know, this thing just makes me so happy. I really like the inclusion of the Autobot symbol on the side, something that I don't believe see in the actual films, but really just brings it together, makes it obvious that this isn't just any, Camaro is an actual, Transformer car, and yeah, I really do like it. The design work is really nice. The actual, colour is really nice. Unfortunately, mine is a little bit scuffed over the years, but yeah, these are just some excellent vehicles from an excellent range of die-cast cars, and yeah, I just really do enjoy having this in my collection. The detailing is pretty good, even down to things like the little, the intake there, and just the handles and stuff on the doors. Just a lot of really nice details that you don't see on too many, movie replicas, essentially, which is just really cool. I do wish that it did have the lights painted in, as well as the grille, but that's a very small gripe on a vehicle that I otherwise think is one of the best. And coming in at number 3, we have a slightly different thing to the rest of the list. This is the Gyrosphere from Jurassic World. This is from the Matchbox series of Jurassic World vehicles, and it does kind of die-cast. The metal is metal, the actual center part is actually metal. It is quite weighty as well, and in general, this is one of the most interesting die-cast vehicles I have in my entire collection. it basically comes down to the fact that this is essentially a hamster ball, which is very accurate to its depiction in the film, but yeah, it's still a very weird thing to have in a diecast form. Obviously, it moves around pretty well. The weightedness of the centerpiece, the actual moving part inside, is definitely interesting. It does allow some movement, though it doesn't really like to move in a straight line. I just really like that this exists at all. It's such a weird design to see in a toy like this, and honestly, it just comes down to it being so unique within my collection. I really do like it. It's not overly detailed, you know, the actual seats are just painted in metallic blue, and that is really it. The actual design overall is pretty plain, even down to the fact that it doesn't, you know, unlike most diecast vehicles, even have any information about the year, any information about, you know, what it actually is. You know, if you don't know what this is and you're just looking at it as a hamster ball with a seat in it, you might be a little bit confused, but yeah, it is definitely one of the prized items in my collection. A somewhat newer one, honestly. One that I wasn't even familiar with until, or rather, didn't know it existed until somewhat recently. The last 2 years or so is when I found out about this entire line, and the fact it has a gyrosphere I just think is super cool. But yeah, this is an excellent little thing. It's one of the smaller diecast vehicles I have in my collection, and yeah, overall just a very nice little thing, and yeah, very representative of the actual in-universe vehicle, so yeah, very, very cool indeed. And coming in at number 2, we have the 2016 Warthog. This is the red variant from the Hot Wheels Halo collaboration, and honestly, this could even be number 1, potentially, if I had it in one of the more classic colours, potentially the, you know, khaki green sort of colour, but as it is, this is such an excellent sculpt, and from one of my favourite game series out there, it really does stand out. The red colour is actually really nice. The actual metallicness of it is really cool. The overall design is, you know, as I say, really accurate to the game. The actual decals on it, like the little energy sword that we have here, as well as some of the other various markings around it, are just so well done. And in general, this is just a really nice representation of what is one of my favourite sci-fi vehicles, just in general. Oh, whoops, that's the gyrosphere falling off the table. But, yeah, this is just such a nice little model, and you know, as someone who has collected a lot of the mini-scale Halo collectibles over the years, this is still my favourite version of the Warthog in toy form. It's weird to say that because I do own the 3 3/4 version, as well as the 6-inch version, as well as the micro-scale version from the minifig scale releases, and yeah, this still stands up as my favourite overall design. It feels, in a way that I don't think any of the others do, just accurate. I don't really know how to explain it. Obviously, you know, you have things like the seats not being in black, you know, some of the various details that could be a little bit greater, but at the end of the day, this is still such an excellent design, so well realized, and it just makes me happy whenever I see it. You know, it sits very often in my, you know, current video game display, and yeah, it always makes me happy whenever I see it. It's one of my favorite, well, obviously it's number 2. It's one of my favorite diecast vehicles that I own, and yeah, it's just a very, very cool little vehicle to have, even down to the fact that it's a different shape. You know, it's something we don't see too often. I don't know. As well as having a weapon on it, that's something that we don't see hardly ever, which is really weird to think about, but yeah, just an excellent little diecast vehicle, and yeah, that's why it's at number 2. So, before we actually speak about number 1, I just want to make a quick honourable mention, and that is for the Thunder Tank from the absolutely excellent Hot Wheels Premium Pop Culture series. This is from Thundercats Classic, and if not for the fact that, you know, you may have already seen the video on it, this is a very, very recent addition to my collection. This probably could be number 1. This could be, you know, the best vehicle I have. It's just, I haven't had it for long enough to really, I guess, realise how good it is, but this is an excellent little vehicle. Not something that I'm too familiar with. Thundercats is not something I have much knowledge about, but the overall design is great. The cat aesthetic is lovely, even down to the little claws that are on the arms, which, yes, this is a Hot Wheels vehicle, with a movable aspect. None of the ones that I have in this tier list, essentially, have any moving parts other than the wheels. But yeah, it is something that I really do enjoy about this one. And just overall, the paint job is excellent, the design is great, I love the Thundercats logo on the back, and just in general, this is a really, really nice vehicle, and you'd expect it to be. It's Hot Wheels Premium, you know, it comes from such a, you know, higher price bracket compared to most of the Hot Wheels that I have in my collection, but yeah, it just is an excellent vehicle, and it's unfortunate, as I say, because of how new it is, I can't happily put this in the top 5, but, you know, if I ever do this again, if I do this in like a year or two, this probably will be at number 1. But coming in at number 1, and if you have followed this channel for any amount of time, this probably won't come as a major surprise, but it is the Land Speeder, and this thing is excellent. Obviously from Star Wars, mainly featured in Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope, this is one of, well, if not the best reimaginings, recreations in Hot Wheels scale of any movie vehicle. So just overall, even though it's playing on the bottom, this is still a really excellent standard release, and that's the crazy thing. This one came out in 2020 originally, and since I had it when it came out back in 2020, it has always just fascinated me, the fact this exists at all. And obviously we've seen plenty of other spaceships, you know, we have the Jetsons vehicle, we have various ones from Star Trek, and I don't even think this is the only Hot Wheel vehicle, like standard Hot Wheels release of a Star Wars vehicle, but for me, this just stands out as being one of the best. I think what it comes down to is the fact that this is essentially how we see it used in the film. This is essentially a car. Like, it is meant to be, you know, driven along the ground, you know, it doesn't hover too high above it. It's meant to be a normal land transport in the Star Wars universe, and I think that really makes it work as a Hot Wheels, a die-cast car. You know, when it comes to the Star Trek vehicles, as much as I love them, and I have collected most of them at this point, there's something about having a vehicle that is meant to just sit on the ground, fly along. I think something like that just makes it so much better, and the overall design is excellent. I love the detailing of the missing engine compartment, all the little scratches and scuffs, the paint defects sort of thing. It just all works so well. The only possible thing that could make this any better is just having R2 there. If R2 was just, you know, sat there or laid there or whatever, you know, to match with how it looks in the film, that would make it, you know, 110%. This is, in my opinion, a 100% good Hot Wheel vehicle, and just in general, an excellent diecast. It's so well done. The design overall is great. There's so many paint applications. Like, you compare this to, you know, some of the other vehicles in this video, you know, you even compare it to one of the ones that has one of the nicer paint jobs, the Bumblebee. It just doesn't have anything on it compared to the Land Speeder, and there's just nothing, in my opinion, that could truly improve this without, as I say, just adding like a character or something, which is something that, you know, in general doesn't happen too often with Hot Wheel vehicles. But yeah, this is my favourite of all time diecast vehicle, at least that I have in my current collection. I'm sure that could change in time, and, you know, as I said, with the Thunder Tank, it's probably going to be dethroned sooner or later, but as of right now, this is definitely my favourite, and in my opinion, the best diecast vehicle you can get. And yeah, I really do love this thing, especially it being a standard release. Just, it makes me so happy that I was able to get this for, you know, £1.30, I think, at the time. Very, very cheap. Might have even been less than that, but yeah, such a cool vehicle to have in Hot Wheels form, and yeah, such an excellent part of my collection. So yeah, that is it for my list. But there we have it. That is my top 5 diecast cars in my collection, plus one honorable mention that will probably overtake most of them in the coming years. And yeah, that is really everything to go over. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like it, subscribe if you're new around here, and ring the bell so you never miss upload. Otherwise, comment below what are your top 5 favourites in your collection. I'm really interested in hearing what you guys have to say. Do you agree with my favourites? You know, do you think any of these are actually duds and, you know, I'm wrong? That's perfectly fine. I'd love to have that sort of conversation in the comments below. But yeah, in any case, that's going to be it for this. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!